Late Night with Chefs, Truffle Boy and Doug reporting for duty. And this week we have an amazing guest, Chef. Doug, introduce our guest chef of the evening, please.
With pleasure. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight to listen to myself and Truffle Boy, as well as our guest chef, Chef Lee Jones, coming to us out of New Brunswick. We are excited to talk with Chef Lee and kind of dive into his culinary adventures, kind of how he sees the food and beverage industry. And we're just excited to get you on. I know we had to postpone this, so it's a long time coming. But without further ado, Chef Lee Jones, how are you doing tonight?
Good.
We're happy to have you on. So New Brunswick, Canada. We've had a couple Canadian chefs. I know that Ethical Table, we had him on, and I know that you guys follow each other on Instagram. And
we grew up a bit together there. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, it was interesting pod that we had with him, and just kind of like the Canadian food scene, as well as just like the Canadian perspective on things, is very enlightening. So I'm excited to kind of get your outlook on the food scene of Canada, as well as your story. And speaking of your story, if you could kind of bring us to your early industry days, did it start with mom or grandma in the kitchen? How did the beginning of Chef Lee come about?
Yeah, for sure. Like growing up, we definitely spend a lot of time in the kitchen with family parties and stuff. That'd be where they be based around would be the food. So yeah, a lot of it comes from there, like for sure. I like bringing that like sense of family that I had growing up to other people. So giving them a table to eat around or share those experiences, it's always nice.
Yeah. Do you often find when you're looking back at those memories, were they during like specific holidays? Was there certain dishes that kind of like stick out in your head when you think of like, family food?
I don't think there's like many dishes that stick out, more of like just like the togetherness or like the time that we have like eating together and stuff. I think it's more what sticks out for me.
Yeah, definitely, sharing a meal with family is special, but also I don't think we realize how special it is until we start to grow up and cherish those moments, because, for you at, 9, 10 years old, it's just another stupid Tuesday night dinner. But
Right.
now you look at it and you're like, wow, yeah, I'd love to just have some meatloaf and just sit and, eat and talk about what my homework was for the day.
Right, yeah. Or just like have that nostalgia, like just eating the food and just going back to then. I love that, yeah.
Yeah,
And Chef, were
definitely.
you born and raised in Canada, or?
Yeah, in New Brunswick, yeah. Always been here, yeah.
So where does the name, where does the chai part come in there?
Oh,
We were
She.
pretty
So it's like
curious.
Chef Lee and the She. So I'm in Miramichi right now, and the people here call it the She. So I just used that and kind of snuck it in there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Uh,
Because we were thinking that you originally came from, because the abbreviation CHI is, we usually call it the Shy, which is,
mhm.
Chicago abbreviation. So we were like, what is going on here? That's
Yeah.
pretty mysterious. So that's a pretty cool thing to get
The she.
behind, and
Yeah.
yeah, we're learning something new as well. But as
Yeah.
Doug was kind of looking back at your early culinary start, where would you say that you really started your place in the culinary world?
Um, like my first job was, I don't know, I guess like most people, just starting as a dishwasher and get
Oh
in
yeah.
the kitchen and find out you're just eventually you're making nachos or like working the salad station or the easy little jobs that nobody else wants to do, just to if somebody calls in sick, you got to throw them in somewhere. So that's where it really started. And then I don't know, I just kind of got really lucky and learned, like worked under some really good chefs, and just kind of really grew a passion for it, and it grew since.
what were some of those, you said you worked under some really great chefs early on. Were they the same chefs that kind of gave you a shot from, dishwasher to making nachos? Or did you sort of seek those people out and specifically go, work at their restaurants?
Yeah, there's definitely, I seek them out. So like in New Brunswick, like when I first started, there wasn't much like of a culinary, anything, like a couple shops and stuff. And then, so I moved out to Calgary, Alberta, and that's where I, worked under all the chefs and, kind of figured stuff out and grew. And then when I moved back home, it was kind of starting to grow, all the new restaurants and stuff like that. And yeah.
Yeah, New Brunswick started to actually kind of like become a foodie destination.
Right. Like before I left, there was some high-end restaurants that were trying to start up and they just would never, they'd shut down, months later, nobody was into it. And then, I don't know, it just kind of grew and the young kids got older and started wanting more better food, I guess. I don't know. Experience some different things. So it kind of worked out for us.
What would you say are some of those, New Brunswick kind of staples that you guys eat over there? Kind of, they're like your local type of food items or dishes.
Yeah, like we're known for like our lobster for sure. Like Atlantic lobsters, pretty big deal. It's cheap for us, expensive for everybody else, so that's nice. And yeah, I don't know, like salmon used to be a big thing, but it's starting to slow down. We're losing a lot of salmon, so it's not really something we're known for anymore, but definitely used to be. But like mostly seafood, I would say, for the East Coast for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. And then you guys still make like lobster rolls with the lobster, or what are the go-to dishes for that?
Oh, for sure. No, we still, keep it old school and put the lobster on the the toasted hot dog bun and stuff like that. Got to keep it the way it was. Can't mess around with it too much.
Yeah.
And then here's an interesting question. So when I was working at GT Fish, we had two styles of lobster roll, right? You got the cold one, which is, the standard lobster roll with the celery and mayo. And then you got your Connecticut style, which is like warmed with just butter and stuff. Is that a thing, in New Brunswick as well? And what do you prefer, if it is a thing?
No, it's rare you see a hot lobster roll here. It's mostly just like the lobster salad type, just the way your grandmother would have made it. That's just the way you make it.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I was super interested because, when you guys are pretty much as north as it gets, on the side of east, it. So I was just wondering, east, wherever the cam. But yeah, no, that's super interesting. And then, so when you got back to kind of the New Brunswick scene, what were those kind of steps that you looked into taking to progressing your career?
Yeah, so when I came back, it was like I said, the scene was a bit different. It was like progressed quite a lot. So yeah, I just learned under more chefs here, and then I moved out to Miramichi and started. I helped open up a restaurant here when I first moved, and then I don't know, kind of started my like personal caterings and stuff like that, kind of bringing stuff that they didn't have here already, and kind of trying to figure that out here.
Awesome. And then were there any like, where were you kind of grasping the knowledge, or kind of, what were those sources that helped you out to kind of really formulate as you are as today as a chef?
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of it was just like I'd see stuff and I'd want to be able to do it, so I'd do my own research and kind of trial and error for a while, and then just figure it out and hope for the best. Most of it really kind of faked it till I made it for a while, and then now I just learn from those mistakes and grow from them. And, you know, that's where I am now, I guess.
And
I
is
think
there?
it's
Go
ahead.
for it, Doug. Go for it.
I was just going to say, I think it's incredible that you're able to kind of, bring that full circle. We always talk about being able to, learn from our mistakes. But I always think, if you learn from it, then it's not a mistake, it's a lesson. And I think that a lot of young culinarians out there are so afraid to make a mistake that they won't do anything. And you got to at least do something, in action, try, especially at a young age. You have time to rebound from whatever it is. So whatever you're, out there thinking about making a leap, go for it. You never know what's going to happen. I'm sure, a leap coming back to New Brunswick from Calgary, you're like, I'm never going to find this food. It's not going to be the same. I'm going to go back to, garbage food, this and that and everything else. But you come back and you're like, oh, wow, okay. People are stepping up their game. And like you said, the change really happens when you have the guests who are willing to accept it and who are willing to pay for that. And that's the biggest thing, is like changing the mindset of a public is a slow, tedious, arduous process. But once it happens and you're kind of like the beginning of that, you kind of spearheaded that, it's definitely a rewarding feeling. So I'm sure you coming back to your home and seeing this revitalization of, your culinary field out your front door, you're like, oh, I want to be a part of that, jumping right into it.
Yeah, for sure. It inspired me a lot to like see that happening. And then like I said, when I moved to Miramichi, it's a really small town where just, meat and potatoes, old school, everything. And so it was nice there's even new places now opening up where, they're trying new things and people are really getting excited over it and stuff. So it's nice to see, for sure.
And so you kind of talked a little bit. So you're in Calgary, you're, learning under these chefs, you're kind of, cutting your teeth, as we say. You come back to New Brunswick and you help open up this restaurant. Was that the first restaurant that you had helped, open? I know a lot of culinarians out there have maybe like managed restaurants or worked in restaurants. What did you find kind of different about opening something up besides just like going in and, being a part of the team that it's already there?
Yeah, so like opening a restaurant, well, I mean, starting in a restaurant that's already open, like they already have their vision, they have, everything's already ironed out and everything, is in place and you're just kind of there to fill a spot. Where, opening a restaurant, you're creating that vision, you're creating, every plate from nothing, like I don't know, it's definitely a lot more fun, but a lot harder because you're building with nothing really, except for like some ideas that you hope work.
Yeah, exactly. And no, definitely. I mean, being a part of an opening team, it's being able to handle chaos very well and the unorganized. You're there, especially if you're in a chef role for an opening, you're there to make sense of it all. So you have to be the one, with all the answers, even though there's 100 unknown variables in front of you.
Yeah, for sure.
What was sort of, so you opened the restaurant and then did your private catering while working at the restaurant, or you kind of decided to change paths and go to like a private catering?
No, the private catering came because I don't know, there aren't too many like actual chefs here, like just kind of people that have been doing it a while, but don't really have a passion or it's just a job, So like the catering started from people like calling me and asking like, would I think about doing a private catering for, this small group, or could you come and do our Christmas party or something like that. And then it just like from word of mouth after that kind of just grew and turned into doing pig roast for weddings and, bigger things. And yeah, I don't know.
That's awesome.
And as going from like a restaurant environment where everything's kind of, you know, set in stone and scheduled and organized, what would you say are some of those pointers that you kind of had to learn on early on as being your own boss and doing this, you know, figuring out the food costs and all of that stuff? You can give us a little bit more details and insight for some of our viewers that, you know, are thinking to likewise kind of spread their roots in the catering world.
Yeah, I think the biggest step or hurdle, I guess, would be like just dealing with the people like face to face. Where like as if you like if you're a chef in a restaurant, usually the owner, the manager, GM, or whatever would handle those people and figure all that stuff out. But it's really all on you. Like you have to create the event, you have to sell it, you have to make it look good, create the food, make sure everybody's satisfied when you're there. Like you're doing the whole thing. So it's definitely it's a lot more work, but I think it's way more fun. Like just kind of doing your own thing, and I don't know. People seem to like it better. I like the smaller ones better though. Like when you're in somebody's house and there's only 5 or 6 people, and you're sitting there and you're talking to them while you're cooking, and I like that.
Yeah, it definitely creates a more intimate experience, as Art Smith said on our pod many a moon ago.
100% agree with you, Doug. That intimacy, and especially when you are doing the 5 to 10 people, it's really more or less manageable and more of like an art showcase of what you can put out and really enjoy it versus being in the weeds and like and like you were saying, it's not just a job for you, right? Those keywords that I love hearing from any chef is like, I took this as a passion and it's not just a job for me. And that really shows in the amount of effort that you're going to put into something when you take it, from just being a job to something that, you want to grow and nourish and learn and educate, not only yourself, but the consumer and the guests that you're going to be feeding. In terms of, has there been any like funny stories, caterings, or any like mishaps or any, little horror stuff that might have happened? Because I know Doug's got a funny one.
I remember my first pig roast that I did. There was that, like, people around here, it's called the wedding barn or something. I can't remember. But anyway, they rent a barn and they have weddings there. And I was doing a pig roast and nobody was there yet. It was just me and the spit, and I got all the charcoal ready and got the pig on. I went inside the barn to look around, see, nice in here. And I come out and the pig's on fire. So it was a bit of a panic, but it was just starting to burn, so it was good. I figured it out, got through it. But nice. Yeah, that was probably one of the worst days.
Yeah, those are the ones we put under our belts as an experienced learner.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad there was no guests there at the time. That's all I.
But kind of talking about that, these little funny stories that we've had. Doug's told me a good one. I don't think we've shared it on the pod yet. But Doug, do you wanna talk about the fire you set?
Yeah, no, I almost it was my first catering gig as a college student. I started doing catering gigs just to make some side money, going to culinary school, and I was doing a birthday party and they wanted a grilled peach chicken. And so I had tossed all of these peaches and macerate. I think we did like sugar and oil just to get a nice caramelization on the peaches. And they had one of those island top grills that you see in like the 70s kitchens with the hood system over top of it. It's like a cast iron grill with the 2, ranges on each side. And I'm like, oh, can I use this? Like, does this work? I mean, I seen one in my aunt's kitchen, but, I never used it. And if it's there, it has to work, right? So, I turned the thing on, 450. I'm like, yeah, get a nice hard sear on these peaches. Everything's going to be copacetic. I think I get like 4 or 5 peaches on there before the whole thing is just smoking, and the sugar, is burning and falling to the bottom. The cast iron was not even grill grade. It maybe was safe for 300 degrees. The metal starts like melting and folding in on itself. The peaches are like oozing down this like lava metal. The hood system's not turning on. And yeah, what an awful like, display of, yeah, oh yeah, I'll take care of your birthday, I got it, no problem, oh yeah, grilled peach chicken, yeah, I've done that like a million times, I work with this 2-star chef, no problem. Just overly confident. And yeah, that was a humbling experience. Those are one of those lessons that you learn where it's like, maybe catering events aren't the time to try something you've never done before in somebody else's house.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
I think that's the lesson there. Hopefully someone will listen to this and they're thinking about doing some crazy espuma or, foam or gelatin or some crazy reduction. If you haven't done it before, don't do it in someone else's house for the first time, because there's already 100 different variables that you weren't expecting. So don't make it 101.
Yeah.
So, Chef, we're kind of talking a little bit about your private catering, and it seems like the public is pretty receptive to the idea of elevated cuisine, which is awesome. Do you find that there's any sort of drag, or is there stuff that you hope to continue to kind of like push out there that people will be receptive of? Is there something that you kind of want to see change in the New Brunswick culinary scene that you're like, I wish we did more more of this or more of that?
No, I kind of like the direction they're going actually right now. Here, like a lot of people are turning to farms, like local farms and stuff now for food and ethical resources and stuff like that. So I mean, for like small town Canada, I think we're the culinary field's actually doing quite well and definitely going in the right direction. I mean, the resources here are much smaller than the big cities and stuff. So we kind of work with what we have, and I think we're getting there for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And I like that you're kind of hitting on a couple key points in our industry right now, which is one, the sustainability of food, but also the sourcing of our food. And I think it's so important that whenever we're able, that we are supporting those local farmers and local food sources, because they really are the backbone growth of our industry. Without all those local farmers and without them putting in the time and the effort, there's no way that we're going to be able to create the food that we want. I mean, you can have a commodity carrot and make it taste great, but you can also have a really nicely grown organic carrot and not have to do much to it. So
Right.
The farmers really are the backbone of us pushing forward in a sustainability sense, but also of a appreciation of where our food comes from.
Yeah, and like you said, like if you have a really nice carrot, for example, like you said, like there's so much flavor in there. Like they aren't grown in 2 days. You get a great big carrot, and
Right.
they actually grow.
Water.
Yeah, like the sugars get to produce, and you get all those nice flavors that you don't get. Yeah, just grabbing it from Cisco or whoever you get your stuff from. Like
The good old Cisco.
not to throw them under the bus or nothing.
Right, they're a bit of a different ballgame.
They serve their purpose.
Yeah.
No, 100%. And we have been traveling now I have been for the last couple of weeks, and Vlad for the last couple of months. And I think that if anything, we kind of see that appreciation, at least of seasons. I've been in Florida for so long, we don't have seasons. So now to be able to see farmers kind of go into seasons and watch them be able to kind of, work the land in cycles, it's quite a rewarding experience.
Yeah, for sure. There's lots of just like small farmers here with like just small crops and just for farmers markets and stuff like that, which it doesn't really help many restaurants, but like me for caterings, it's perfect because I'm just feeding a small amount of people, and I can just go and grab a small amount of stuff, and I don't have to worry about it being like a consistent menu or anything like that.
Right. You don't have to order 5 pounds of creminis.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And with being, part of this, smaller local community, would you say that, in terms of the farmers market, it's a lot of the locals are shopping there too, and are pretty much eating, just like what a chef would want to be eating, but kind of cooking it a little bit differently? Or how would you rate, your local community in terms of chefiness and foodiness?
I think that like our generation are definitely hitting up the markets and really trying to impress people or whatever with their cooking, but I think the older generations are still just going to the grocery store doing it that way, like don't think they're really thinking too much into it.
Right. They have their routine, and I can understand, something different is intimidating sometimes, and you don't necessarily know what you're going to get. And for some people that can be exciting, but at farmers markets, we have one in St. Pete, and I went this last Saturday, and they always have mushrooms. Like, every time I've gone, they have mushrooms, lion's mane, chestnuts, trumpets, oysters. They always do. And, I hadn't been home in a couple of weeks, so I was really looking forward to it. I go there, they're out. They don't have any. The spores didn't set right. The crop didn't, or, not crop, but fungi, didn't grow properly. It didn't propagate. And they just didn't have it. And now, for me, I was already looking forward to it. At first I was sad, but then I realized I'm like, that's how it goes. It's not something that's just plucked and put on a 30-day cycle, and every 30 days it's harvestable. It's something that kind of ebbs and flows. And so now the next time I have mushrooms, I will be even more appreciative of these mushrooms. So that's how we have to kind of look at it. But it definitely helps create that appreciation for the product, which I think is super important in driving the value of the product.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And it allows us to kind of be able to sustain ourselves in this business. A lot of things we talk about with private chefs who do catering is charge for your time, because you're charging for your time to go to the market, to buy the stuff, to create the menus, to think of the menus, to cook the menus. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes into that. And if everyone thinks that you're just hopping over to Walmart Supercenter and picking up all the ingredients in the produce aisle and then running over to their house and cooking it up, any good chef is not doing that. Anyone who cares about the food that they're feeding their guests, especially with a 6 to 10 person tasting, you can really have fun with that, with your sourcing. If you do have access to the local farms and the farmers markets like we're speaking of, it can be a rewarding experience for you and your guests, because I'm sure a lot of your guests, being in a smaller community, they probably shop at the same farmers market. So now they can be like, oh, I remember when Chef Lee, made this and he got it from this farmer's market. Do you have any kind of, epiphanies or examples of that kind of happening?
Well, like just to hit on that point for sure, like it's good. Like a lot of my friends are the local farmers. So like it's nice to, when I do my caterings, to go in and be like, oh, well, I got, these microgreens from this guy and these carrots from this guy and these salads from this guy. And like you said, it kind of circles back to the farmer where, they're making more money now because they have more people, going looking for their food because, like you said, like, oh, like we had this dinner and we just had these, and it was so good, and yeah, for sure, it helps everybody. It helps the community. It helps everybody.
Yeah, no, 100%, bringing awareness to that. And then, tenfold, it comes right back to you because I guarantee when they go home and they buy that product and they cook it, it's not going to taste the same. And they're going to be like, oh, yeah, we need to get Chef Lee back out here. Like these carrots, they ain't hitting the same as they were. But, I love that. I think that's so special. And I think more people need to kind of utilize all their local farms and sourcing. I mean, in Florida, we don't necessarily have seasons, but the benefit of that is you have very consistent product, very consistent crops year round. So, we can always get tomatoes and cucumbers, lettuces, herbs, micros, all that stuff grows year round in Florida. So we do have some seasons for some produce, but it's pretty stagnant. And so with that, the reliability kind of helps us in the case because we don't have to, oh, I hope this worked, I hope that didn't work. You can kind of really showcase those ingredients to guests. I think that's really cool what you're doing. I think that's hopefully very much appreciated by your clientele. And if anyone out here is listening and kind of doing private chef things, hopefully they're inspired by that.
Yeah, let's hope. It's what I'm hoping everybody starts doing at some point. But like I said, the smaller farms here, it's not sustainable resource for restaurants and stuff. But I mean, the more smaller groups that go to them, the bigger their farms come, and maybe someday they could become that for everybody.
Definitely.
And with us never kind of visiting New Brunswick, which we're definitely going to be hitting up and going all over Canada eventually once we get our little Late Night with Chef trailer, get that on the road. But describe kind of the seasons and what do you guys have there that's you would say is like one of your favorite things that are one of those times of the years that you look for, and overall just give us the little rundown of New Brunswick.
Yeah, sure. So summer starts around June. It starts to get nice. Snow's gone. You can get your gardens going and stuff then. And if it's a good summer, you get a good crop. And if not, then it's not that great. But and then this time of year, it's really cold and it should start snowing any day now. And so this usually the time of year, you're pickling your vegetables and stuff like that. And then, yeah, wintertime, there's really nothing. It's just snow and I don't know.
What temperatures are we talking?
Vegetables. What's that?
What temperatures are we talking?
Here, right now, overnight, it's -3, -4 Celsius. So not too bad. During the day,
Not too bad.
No, it's not too bad. In January, February, it could get -40 Celsius, so it gets pretty cold.
Holy cow! I think
so with that kind
-3
of
or 4 is 26 degrees Fahrenheit, somewhere around there.
I'm not sure the conversion.
That's cold.
I'm terrible at that conversion.
No, you're fine. I myself, but wow, that's really cold. We're in Virginia area right now, and it's 45 degrees, and that's cold for us. So I can't imagine 26 degrees right now.
With kind of being a more or less colder town and colder how do you guys go about preserving? Do you guys have little underground, back in the old days, they'll have little dugouts where they would, keep their preserves at a certain temperature and kind of, have that nutrition to sustain throughout, those freezing winters. Is there anything you do with, sort of in the line of that?
Yeah, a lot of houses now, they'll have in their basements, they'll have what they call cold rooms, where it's just a cement room essentially in their basement with no heat or anything going to it, and they'll keep their preserves and potatoes and root vegetables and stuff down there, and they'll last a bit longer. But that's really all we got for that kind of thing.
No, and that's one of those things that it will vary from town to town and kind of the heritage there. But I think it's really cool to kind of see how people keep themselves fed and ration some of those beautiful summer crops that they're able to harvest. Is there anything in specific that you just like die for to pickle and like eat for the rest of the year, and like just so gratified that you were able to get your hands on that and kind of like preserve that beautiful summer flavor in a jar?
Yeah, I mean, I don't do a ton of pickling myself, but my mother does a lot. And like pickled beets, I could eat those year round for sure. Like just she jars a lot of salsa from her from her tomatoes and stuff from her garden. Like all those kinds of things are just always good.
What's mom's pickled beet recipe? I mean, you don't give us any family secrets here, but I mean, are we talking, is there juniper in there, mustard seed, black peppercorns? What do we got working?
It's mostly just like just a sweet pickled beet, just sugars and vinegars, and she doesn't go too crazy with anything. Just kind of keeps it old school and just the way they did it growing up. So,
well, kind of like you were talking about, with great quality product, you don't need to do too much. And so, keeping it nice and simple. Sometimes, like you said, it's that nostalgia for you, your mom's pickled beets, they taste the same every time.
Every time. Yeah, they do.
I love it.
That's awesome. And I know a lot of people and chefs especially, and actually everybody from all walks of life can't really say that they look forward to their mom's pickled beets or mom's doing any type of pickling. So
yeah,
that's kind of cool that that's probably geared towards your area, and that's kind of how they've lived and have done it for years. We have a great listener, one of our fan favorites, Mr. Cox. And he's asking, and there's a lot of hydroponic systems and stuff like that we've seen kind of going around and becoming more of a trend, those shipping container, hydroponic type of things. Have you kind of seen any of that happening in the New Brunswick area?
No, we don't have anything like that now. Like most of those are just kind of people doing it like in their houses or out of their garage or basement. Like we don't have any big shipping containers or anything like that going there. We aren't that big yet, I don't think.
We had a Florida company, and there's I guess there's a black market for used shipping containers, which is baffling, but yeah, you're right.
The only thing we have in shipping containers now, we see a lot of pop up like instead of the food trucks, people are turning shipping containers into kitchens and stuff. Those are becoming a pretty big thing here now, I guess. But that's about all you see in shipping containers.
No, that's pretty cool, and that's a great way to repurpose and recycle and reuse and kind of get out there. But me thinking of like just if it is cold, that you're able to keep that insulated and kind of have that fresh produce going year long. But again, you do lose some of that terroir aesthetics that you would get from that New Brunswick soil. So there is kind of a double-sided type of opinion going around that. But we're always fascinated about learning about all these different cultures and different set ways and how people live and how chefs go through these different obstacles. When it does come to winter time and you are composing let's say a Thanksgiving or a Christmas party evening, what are your kind of resources that you utilize to achieve that?
Yeah, so like Thanksgiving, Christmas, all those is pretty much just turkey, potatoes, and then some your root veg, just a bunch of pickled stuff. That's pretty much all it is. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Some fresh breads,
Beautiful. Well, Chef, we kind of talked a little bit about you doing your private chef thing. If people are in the New Brunswick area, where can they get in touch with you if they wanted to reach out to you to come do, a little 6-person tasting?
Yeah, for sure. You could. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, Chef Lee and the She. You can look me up on there. Also, right now, I'm working at a food truck called Perro's Mobile Kitchen. We're doing just some fun, higher end like street food. We're doing our best anyway, what we can do. So yeah, those are where you can find me right now.
I love that. What's one of your staples there at the food truck?
The food truck, we're mostly known for like our burgers. We do some specialty burgers, so those are more popular things.
Tell me the burger set of the Reuben Burger, because that's got me. I think that's genius, and it's like that's all I really want in a burger.
Yeah. Right?
Delicious.
Me too. That's why I made it. so yeah, it's essentially just a Reuben on a burger. It's just a burger with some Montreal smoked meat, some Swiss cheese, and grilled sauerkraut. And we have a local brewery, New Maritime Brewery. Yeah, just like on the
nice
flat top or whatever.
Yeah, like a little toast on it. Nice.
Right. Yeah. And then I got some stout from a local brewery and made some mustard out of that, and it goes really well with it. Very nice.
Love it.
Solid, yeah. We'll take two. We'll take two when we pull up in the trailer.
Yeah.
So how did those two worlds collide, like the pastrami Reuben and the patty melt? And do you remember yourself being like, that's gonna be a fucking a hit?
It actually came because I wanted to make a mustard with the beer that from the brewery, and I was like, I love pastrami and mustard, so and we sell a lot of burgers, so it kind of came together.
No, that's awesome, and that definitely got us drilling. And everybody tuning in, check out. There's a lot more than just burgers that meets the eye. There's some beautiful plate ups and a lot of fantastic food. And we're super excited to get a new friend in New Brunswick, have another chef connection out there, and super happy to have you on the pod, and grateful that you came on and shared your time, wisdom, and your experiences and kind of your perspective of the world and the culinary scene and what you're able to do within that realm.
Yeah, it's a tough go for us right now with everything going on, but we'll get through her.
Exactly.
That we will.
One pastrami burger at a time, right?
Right, that's right.
Well,
Awesome,
Chef and everyone else, thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to another episode here of Late Night with Chefs. I am Doug and Truffle Boy, and our guest tonight, Chef Lee Jones out of New Brunswick. Absolute pleasure talking with you tonight, Chef. Thank you so much, and thank you everybody else for tuning in and listening to us. We have a lot coming up right now. Myself and Truffle Boy are in Farmville, Virginia, feeding some refugees out here, trying to make a difference. So stay tuned for some more content on that. As Truffle Boy will take us out of this pod, as he so lovingly does every time.
Yeah, everyone, make sure to show some love to Chef Lee. We will definitely be showing you lots of love, so don't be surprised if your news feed is if you're
it's a little blown up. We apologize.
Comments from us.
Yep.
That's definitely me and Doug putting in some love and work, and it's been a pleasure, and we're going to stay connected and keep this friendship live and happy.
Yeah, for sure, guys. Thanks a lot for having me.
Thank you, Chef.
Appreciate it.
Right on. Cheers,
All right,
guys.
everyone.
Good night, everybody. Stay safe.